On January 4th, 2012, something strange appeared on the internet. An anonymous user posted a simple black and white image on 4chan, a website famous for chaos, jokes, and fake stories. The image showed plain white text on a dark background. No logo, no explanation. Just a message. Hello, we are looking for highly intelligent individuals. It claimed there was a hidden code inside the image, a test meant to find the few who could solve it. At the bottom, there was only one signature, 3301. At first, it didn't seem special. 4chan sees thousands of weird posts every day. Most are ignored, some are mocked, almost all disappear. But this one was different. It didn't beg for attention. It didn't explain itself. It didn't even ask anyone to try. It just waited. And that silence made people uncomfortable. This didn't feel like a prank or a meme. There were no ads, no usernames chasing fame, no political message, no product. The wording was calm, confident, almost like the creators already knew most people would fail. And that confidence was unsettling. Soon, it became clear this was something much bigger. What we now call Cicada 3301 wasn't just a game. It was a puzzle built from cryptography, math, philosophy, literature, music, and symbolism, all woven together with extreme precision. Programmers showed up, code breakers joined in, linguists, engineers, puzzle experts. Thousands tried to solve it. Most quit. A small number kept going. For those people, Cicada didn't feel like a challenge anymore. It felt like an obsession. The first step looked simple. Find the hidden message inside the image. Solvers used steganography, a method of hiding data inside digital files. Using special tools, they pulled out what looked like random text. But when they applied a Caesar cipher, the chaos turned into something clear. A web link. Clicking it led to another image, and that's when people realized this wasn't random. The next puzzle used a book cipher, pointing to words inside Ralph Waldo Emerson's essay Self-Reliance. Solving that revealed even more layers, involving prime numbers, mathematical constants, and even ancient number systems like Mayan numerals. Every answer didn't finish the puzzle. It only proved you were allowed to continue. The deeper people went, the stranger it became. The puzzles referenced a rare digital poem called Agrippa, a file designed to delete itself after being read once. Participants decoded hex strings, scanned QR codes, analyzed hidden images inside audio files, and tracked clues across books most people had never heard of. This wasn't just about being smart. It required patience, discipline, and curiosity. Then came the moment that changed everything. The puzzle left the internet. Hidden inside the clues were GPS coordinates, real places in the real world. When people followed them, they were stunned. In cities across the globe, the United States, France, Poland, Russia, Japan, South Korea, Australia, the same thing appeared. Posters. They had shown up overnight. No witnesses, no explanation. Each poster showed the same symbol, a cicada, an insect known for staying silent for years, then suddenly emerging. Below it were QR codes and phone numbers. Scanning them revealed more numbers, 503, 509, 3301. All prime numbers. Prime numbers are the foundation of modern encryption. That wasn't an accident. To place posters across continents at the same time required planning, money, coordination, and secrecy. This wasn't one person in a bedroom. It suggested an organized group, or something else entirely. A secret intelligence project? Elite hackers? A recruitment test? A hidden society? By this point, one thing was clear. Cicada 3301 was no longer just an internet puzzle. It was a signal. And somewhere out there, someone was watching to see who would answer.
The 2012 puzzle unfolded over nearly a month, growing steadily in complexity. What began as a single hidden message quickly transformed into a multi-layered challenge that no individual could realistically solve alone. For the first time, Cicada forced strangers to cooperate. Solvers gathered wherever they could: IRC channels, niche forums, and the early days of Reddit. Time zones blurred as people passed partial solutions to one another, building on fragments discovered by someone they might never meet. The puzzle wasn't just testing intelligence, It was testing whether people could coordinate under uncertainty. Among the most prominent solvers was Joel Eriksson, a Swedish crypto security researcher. In later interviews, Eriksson described the experience as a chaotic but exhilarating journey. He worked through the earliest steganographic layers before encountering a series of increasingly advanced cryptographic challenges, including Vigenère autokeys and subtle hints pointing towards RSA factorization, a cornerstone of modern encryption. This wasn't academic theory. These were real-world cryptographic problems, the kind used to secure governments, banks, and private communications. One of the most deceptive clues appeared harmless, an image of a duck. There was no visible code, no obvious distortion. But when solvers ran the image through the strings command in Linux, something unexpected surfaced, executable fragments hidden in plain sight. Those fragments led to a Tor onion service, a hidden website accessible only through the Tor browser. For many participants, this marked their first deliberate step into the dark web, not for secrecy, but because the puzzle demanded it. Cicada wasn't just leading people deeper into code, it was leading them into unfamiliar territory. The Tor site presented new riddles, including a bootable Linux image that solvers were required to mount and explore. Buried within were concealed files referencing cyberpunk literature, mathematical structures, and puzzles built around Fibonacci sequences interwoven with prime numbers. Every layer reinforced the same message. This wasn't random, it was curated. Eventually, Eriksson and a small group of others reached what felt like an endgame. They received an invitation to a private forum. This was the moment the puzzle stopped feeling like a game. Inside the forum, participants were met with a manifesto-like message outlining Cicada's values: privacy, anonymity, and resistance to censorship. They were asked pointed ideological questions. Should information be free? Is mass surveillance inherently wrong? And their answers mattered. Those who aligned were given real assignments, not riddles. Projects included developing encryption tools and privacy-focused software. In a Fast Company interview, Eriksson later explained, "It wasn't about money or jobs. It was about building something for the greater good, software to protect whistleblowers." For some, this was the revelation. Cicada hadn't been searching for the smartest people. It had been searching for the right ones. But not everyone walked away inspired. Another solver, 15-year-old Marcus Warner from Virginia, also completed the puzzle. He documented his experience publicly, describing sleepless nights spent decoding ancient texts and custom ciphers. Warner reached the forum and contributed ideas towards a proposed system called CAKES, the Cicada Anonymous Key Escrow System, a theoretical framework for secure cryptographic key sharing. Then, without warning, communication stopped. No explanation, no closure, just silence. In a later Rolling Stone interview, Warner reflected, "The excitement faded when communication stopped abruptly. It felt like we were used for free labor on their ideological projects." On February 5, 2012, a final message appeared, PGP signed by Cicada 3301. "We have now found the individuals we sought. Thus, our month-long journey ends, for now." The signing key, 0x78359090F, became a digital fingerprint, used to authenticate future Cicada messages in the years to come. The puzzle was over, but the signal remained. In just 1 month, Cicada 3301 had pushed participants through steganography, cryptography, linguistics, mathematics, and real-world coordination. The internet was left buzzing, not just with admiration, but with unease. Because one question lingered. If this was only the first cycle, what would come next?
Precisely 1 year later, on January 5, 2013, Cicada 3301 returned. No announcement, no explanation, just another signal. A new image appeared on 4chan, echoing the previous year's debut, but this time it carried something different, an embedded audio file titled The Instar Emergence. The name itself was symbolic. In entomology, an instar marks a phase of growth between molting stages. Cicada wasn't repeating itself, it was evolving. The audio track was unsettling, ambient, deliberate, and clearly composed for the puzzle, but the music wasn't the message was hidden inside it. To hear nothing was to understand nothing. Using spectrogram analysis tools like Sonic Visualizer, solvers transformed sound waves into images. What emerged were symbols, coordinates, and cryptic shapes, a method reminiscent of Cold War espionage, where agents hid intelligence inside radio broadcasts. Cicada wasn't just borrowing techniques anymore, it was reviving them. The themes from 2012 returned, but the difficulty escalated sharply. Book codes no longer referenced modern essays. They now pointed to medieval texts, including The Lady of the Fountain from the Mabinogion, a collection of Arthurian legends steeped in myth and symbolism. The puzzle had shifted from technical mastery to cultural literacy. Clues crossed languages and borders. Call a phone number in Spanish, hear a recorded message in French, follow that clue to a German language website. Each step forced solvers to move laterally, not just through code, but through history, linguistics, and interpretation. Physical posters returned once more, appearing overnight in even more locations. Familiar cities resurfaced, but new ones joined the map: Mexico City, Berlin, and others. In Warsaw, one poster stood out. It featured a poem that, when decoded, pointed to a Tor site hosting something entirely new, a custom Linux ISO. This wasn't just a puzzle anymore, it was an operating system. Dubbed Cicada OS, the image booted into a virtual environment built specifically to be explored and broken. Hidden partitions concealed encrypted files. Passphrases weren't brute-forced, they had to be understood, often derived from philosophical quotes and abstract references. The system punished impatience and rewarded insight. Veteran solvers like Marcus Warner returned, but the second cycle also brought new voices. One participant, known online as Nox Populi, documented her journey on YouTube, releasing meticulous breakdowns of her progress. For the first time, the public could watch Cicada being solved in real time. In her videos, Nox explained advanced techniques such as gematria, assigning numerical values to letters to extract meaning from texts. She eventually reached Cicada's private communication channels and described the group not as a monolith, but as a loose collective of privacy advocates, not some shadowy agency. The projects, she said, focused on anti-censorship tools and decentralized networks, systems designed to exist without centralized control. But once again, the pattern repeated. Access vanished without warning. Channels went silent. Permissions were revoked. Work stopped midstream. Solvers were left holding fragments of unfinished ideas, unsure whether they had failed or whether failure was the point. In late January 2013, a final PGP-signed message appeared. It was brief, ideological, familiar. Liberty, privacy, security. The message hinted at future cycles, while warning that imposters would inevitably appear. Cicada wasn't just testing intelligence anymore, it was testing faith. The 2013 puzzle marked a clear evolution: more multimedia, more international reach, more philosophical depth. Cicada 3301 was no longer a curiosity, it was a ritual, a signal repeated on schedule, calling out to those willing to follow, even without guarantees. And the internet began to realize something unsettling. Cicada wasn't fading, it was preparing.
On January 4th, 2014, Cicada 3301 returned. But it didn't come back to where it started. This time, the first clue appeared on Twitter, posted by an account called @123-150-705-1321. To most people, it looked like random numbers. To experienced solvers, it was a message. The numbers lined up perfectly with prime number sequences, a quiet warning that this cycle would not be forgiving. What followed was the most difficult puzzle Cicada had ever released. Bootable files came back, but now they were heavier, deeper, and openly hostile to casual exploration. Normal steganography tools no longer worked. Solvers had to build their own software just to begin. In one early step, an image appeared completely blank. Only when very specific filters were applied did hidden text slowly emerge, buried under layers of digital noise. This wasn't designed to be fun. It was designed to keep people out. Then came Liber Primus, the first book, a document at least 58 pages long, written in a custom runic alphabet no one had ever seen before. There was no key, no instructions, no confirmation you were right. For the first time, Cicada didn't hand out a puzzle. It handed out a scripture. Solvers had to create the language from scratch. Using frequency analysis, pattern matching, and clues from earlier years, they slowly began mapping symbols to letters. But simple decoding wasn't enough. Each page used multiple encryption methods at once. At Bash, Vigenère ciphers, prime-based math, circular reading paths hinted at by symbols shaped like rings. Some pages only made sense when read out of order. Liber Primus refused to be read like a normal book. Years later, only about 17 pages have been reliably decrypted, and what they reveal isn't instructions, it's ideology. The text reads like a manifesto, poetic, aggressive, and intentionally unclear. It attacks blind consumption of information. It warns about invisible systems of control. It pushes the idea of personal awakening. One passage says, "You have all slept, you who eat the fruit of knowledge without wisdom. Wake up, the time is now." Another speaks of a cage of the self, a prison built not only by governments or technology, but by habits, identities, and quiet obedience. Surveillance is described not just as cameras or data, but as a way of thinking. According to Liber Primus, the enemy isn't the system, it's the person who never questions their place inside it. Interpretations split fast. Some saw Buddhist themes, awakening, detachment, freedom from illusion. Others saw anarchist or cypherpunk philosophy taken to its extreme. A few believed it wasn't philosophy at all, just another filter, meant to select people who search for meaning without being told where to look. And then, the puzzle stopped. No ending, no final message, No proof of success or failure. Later clues led to dead Tor sites, pages that once existed, then vanished. Some believe the puzzle was never meant to be finished. Others think the real ending happened in private. There are rumors of people who completed it, but no proof. No public confirmation. No signed message from Cicada. For the first time, Cicada didn't close the door. It simply went silent. The 2014 cycle marked the peak of Cicada 3301, not because it was solved, but because it refused to be. It stopped being a puzzle. It became something else entirely, a living artifact. Half code, half philosophy, and completely unresolved. And in that silence, one thought became impossible to ignore. Whatever Cicada 3301 was building, this was as far as it ever wanted the world to see.
When January 4th, 2015 arrived, nothing happened. For the first time since Cicada 3301 began, the signal didn't return. Solvers waited, forums refreshed, midnight passed across time zones, but there was no image, no message, no countdown. The ritual, once perfectly timed, was broken. And this didn't feel like a delay. It felt like disappearance. Then, on January 5th, 2016, something finally appeared. A post from the familiar Twitter account. But it wasn't a new puzzle. The image contained runes, references to an oak tree, Fibonacci prime numbers, and subtle hints pointing back to Liber Primus. No new layers, no global hunt, no escalation, just a quiet message. The book is still there, if you're willing to keep going. This wasn't a return, it was a reminder. The final confirmed message came on April 24, 2017, posted to Pastebin and signed with Cicada's verified PGP key. It read, "Hello, this is a message from Cicada 3301. Stay on task. Check your PGP." Short, calm, intentional. The message rejected all unsigned puzzles and denied any involvement in criminal activity, including a 2015 Planned Parenthood hack that had been falsely linked to Cicada. One warning stood out. Beware false paths. Always verify PGP. In a loud internet filled with fake clues and copycats, Cicada spoke only once, and only to protect the truth. After that, silence. No confirmations, no denials, no follow-ups. Every January since then, the same pattern repeats. Unsigned images appear on 4chan, Reddit threads claim Cicada has returned, anonymous accounts insist the cycle has restarted, and every time the community responds the same way. They check the key. No valid PGP signature, the puzzle is ignored. No arguments, no exceptions. This strict culture of verification, taught by Cicada itself, may be its greatest legacy. In 2024, a ransomware group called itself Cicada 3301. News headlines exploded, but longtime solvers shut it down fast. The original Cicada had openly rejected criminal activity, and this group provided no cryptographic proof connecting them to the real puzzles. It wasn't a return, it was an imitation. Today, Cicada 3301 exists in a strange state. Not alive, not dead. The puzzles are still online. Liber Primus remains unfinished. The PGP key is still valid, and the silence remains unbroken. Whatever Cicada 3301 truly was, a recruitment test, a philosophical experiment, or something else entirely, it did something rare. It taught the internet how to verify truth. And then, it disappeared.
Beyond Erickson and Warner, Nox Populi stands out. Her YouTube series details the 2013 solve, from spectrogram reveals to rune mappings. She now runs a Discord server for ongoing Liber Primus decryption, where members use AI tools like machine learning for pattern recognition. As of 2026, progress stalls. AI helps with brute force, but misses contextual leaps. Other solvers remain anonymous, sharing snippets on forums. One 2012 participant told The Guardian, "It changed how I see the internet, layers upon layers of hidden meaning." Community wikis like Uncovering Cicada archive every clue, with timelines and toolkits. Reddit's r/Cicada hosts monthly challenges, voice chats dissecting runes. Despite no breakthroughs, the hunt persists, fueled by the puzzle's philosophical core.
Theories swirl endlessly. Official purpose, recruit for cryptography and security expertise. But speculation runs wild. NSA or CIA talent scout? Dismissed by solvers. Too disorganized, no bureaucracy. MI6? Unlikely, given anti-surveillance bent. A Masonic offshoot or cult? The runes and philosophy evoke esotericism, but no rituals emerged. An alternate reality game? ARG? No product tie-in, no monetization. Cyber mercenaries? No evidence. Most plausible, a small cypherpunk collective. Hackers inspired by figures like Julian Assange or Phil Zimmerman, creator of PGP. Solvers describe a decentralized group of 5 to 10 people focused on privacy tools amid rising surveillance. Why stop? Burnout? Mission accomplished? Or waiting for the right moment, like cicadas emerging after years underground? Influences abound. Cyberpunk authors like Gibson, Emerson's Transcendentalism, even ancient Welsh myths. The name 3301 might derive from primes, 3301 is prime, or numerology, 3 plus 3 plus 0 plus 1 equals 7, a mystical number.
Cicada's impact extends far. It inspired the U.S. Navy's 2014 Project Architethes, a crypto challenge for recruits. TV shows like Person of Interest featured similar puzzles and episodes. The 2021 film Dark Web Cicada 3301 dramatized it, though loosely. Visual novels like Anonymous Code weave in elements. Communities thrive, with thousands still chipping at Liber Primus. In 2025-2026, blogs and Reddit posts revisit the myth, but no resolutions. Why the cicada symbol? It represents rebirth after dormancy, perhaps hinting at a return. The enigma endures, a testament to human curiosity in the digital age. The signals may have stopped, but the decoding never truly ends.